What's up, everybody? Straw hats are cool, and we were back again with another video for the One Piece trading card game. Today we are going to be hopping on the sim, taking a look at one of my favorite decks right now, which is going to be the Mono Black Luffy leader from the Starter Deck 8, which recently released. Now, I'm going to start by saying right now that this is not an especially competitive leader, but I've been having a lot of fun playing it. Uh, might be a little biased as I do generally enjoy black decks in general. As most of you probably know, Lucci has kind of been my pet deck for the most of the set 3 format. But with that, let's get into the video. As always, thanks to everyone who's liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into the deck breakdown. So our leader is going to be the newly released Mono Black Luffy leader from the starter deck, as I mentioned before. It's got the effect, your turn, when a character is KO'd, give up to one Rested Dawn card to this leader. So pretty generic effect there. Of course, we've got our standard 5,000 power and 5 life. One thing to keep in mind though with the leader effect, if a character of yours is KO'd on your turn, you do also get to give a Rested Dawn to your leader when that happens. It's not just restricted to your opponent's characters, so this is all characters on your turn. So if your opponent triggers a Shockwave out of life, Thunderbolt out of life, or even if your opponent uses a Shockwave or Gum Red Hawk to KO one of your things, you do get the Rested Dawn. It is an interesting interaction if you do get hit with a Red Hawk or Shockwave, as the counter step does happen before you resolve your attack. So if your opponent were to use one of those events to KO one of your characters during the attack, you are going to get a buff if you have Rested Dawn. So for example, if you're swinging 9, they use a Shockwave to KO something, and you have Rested Dawn, you do get to put that Rested Dawn on, and now you're at 10 for that attack. So it is an interesting interaction there. Probably won't come up very often though. So next up, we've got 4-drop Kuzan, 4 copies, 4 cost, 5,000 power. On play, draw 1, and then when attacking, give up to one of your opponent's characters -4 to their cost during this turn. So Kuzan's a great card. Most of us are probably pretty familiar with Kuzan at this point. Most black decks are playing at least some number of this card. And he's one of the core components of the game plan for the way I've built this deck. One of the new cards from the starter deck is the 9-drop Shanks. And while he's not the best or most consistent card, he's the reason I have so much fun with this deck. And so I'm trying to play a lot of cards that reduce cost. Some of you might be wondering why you don't see the 10-drop Kuzan here, and we'll get into that here shortly. So next up, 3 copies of the set 2 Kobe. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power character with 1k counter. And the on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand to KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. So just generic removal. I'm not the biggest fan of Kobe, but this deck, the way this deck plays, I do like having additional ways to KO opponent's characters. At the end of the game, you can use it to KO small blockers. So it's a really good card. Not the biggest fan of it, but I definitely see why we play it. Don't love that having to trash a card for a KO a 3 cost and only a 4k body. If it were a 5k, I'd be a little more excited about it. Next up is another black character most of us are probably familiar with. This is Sakazuki, 3 copies, 6 cost, 7,000 power, with the on play to trash 1 card from your hand, just like Kobe. but this time we get to KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So this is much better. Getting to play this on curve is especially strong because any card our opponent could play on their third turn, if they're going first, we can KO with Sakazuki, as long as it's not immune to KO effects like the starter deck Smoker, for example. So this is one of the best removal cards in the game, in my opinion. Natural 7k body, which is incredible, as 7k is the number we want to be swinging against most leaders. One really cool thing I like about the Sakazuki as well is that if you can go second against Whitebeard and play this on curve, you do get to put a Rested Dawn on your leader, which does make him a 6, so you can also attack the turn that he comes down. In other black decks like Lucci or Smoker, if you were to drop the Sakazuki on curve going second, you would be forfeiting your attack. But with the Luffy leader, you do get that extra Dawn back. So I do think the Luffy does okay into Whitebeard for that reason. Next up, we've got Sengoku, just 2 copies. This is a 2k counter, 2 cost 3k. Dawn 1 when attacking. We can give one of our opponent's characters -2 to their cost. I don't think I've ever played this card, and it's just 2 more 2k counters. I'm playing 14 2Ks in this deck. It's felt good so far. You could swap these 2 out for other things, and I think it would be fine. But I've been really liking the 14 2K counters in the current format. So next up is another one of our 2K counters. This is Suru. 1 cost, 0 power, 2K counter. And on play, give one of our opponent's characters -2 to their cost. So really, again, just another 2K. But this one does have utility. And I think that if there's one that you're going to play, it's probably Suru or the Tashigi, just to reduce cost. So really good 2K counter there. Next up, card that's probably been forgotten by most as he doesn't see much play, but this is the set 2 Helmeppo, 3 cost, 3000 power, 1k counter, with when attacking, give up to one of our opponent's characters -2 to their cost. Then, if there's a character with a cost of 0 in play, this character gains plus 2000 power. It also has trigger to play this card. So, again, like I was saying, I'm just trying to play as many cards that can reduce cost as possible, specifically cards that reduce cost when attacking. Like I said, I'll get into the reasons why closer to the end of the deck profile, so we'll save that for a little later. Borsalino, I think this one's pretty self-explanatory. It's probably the best black card printed right now. 4 cost, 5000 power, 1k counter. On our opponent's turn, he gains plus 1000 power and can't be KO'd by effects, and it's a blocker. So natural 5k body, so can be used as a valid attacker, which does come up more than you'd think. I think swinging with your blockers early is often strong. Your opponents will try and get rid of them, but it's easier to defend a 6k body than it is your 5k leader. So I like attacking with blockers early. Can't be removed on our opponent's turn by effects. Just a really strong card. Next up, Garp, another 2k counter, 2 cost, 3000 power. Gone 2 when attacking. KO up to one of our opponent's characters with a cost of 0. So this one doesn't come up too much either. If you don't have the Garps, you could just use the Sengokus. You could change the numbers between these, go 3 and 3 even. Sengoku might even be more helpful, as he does give you another option for an attacker that can reduce cost, but I was running the Garps because I have the alts and I think they're pretty. Next up, Isho, 2 copies, 8 cost, 9000 power. Got 2 really strong effects here. First one is Dawn ×1. your turn, all your opponent's characters get -3 to their cost. So just a blanket cost reduction on for your opponent's characters on your turn. And then we've also got what I think is the best part of this card, which is the on play. If your opponent has 6 or more cards in their hand, trash 2 cards from your opponent's hand. Your opponent will often play around this. Most opponents are aware of this by now, but it is something that your opponent has to play around if they think you've got it. Just getting to remove 2 cards from hand for an on play is incredible. It can often shift the tide of the game in your favor. So, very good card there. Also synergizes with the Shanks, which we'll get into here shortly. Next up, Fukuro. Again, similar to Borsalino, we probably know this card. We expect to see 4 copies of it in every black deck, and probably will be for the foreseeable future. So Fukuro, 3 cost, 3000 power, 1k counter, can't be KO'd by effects, and is a blocker. So against decks that aren't blue or green, this basically ensures us a block at some point in the game. So just a really good card there. 2 copies of Brand New. This is our Searcher, 2 cost 3k, 1000 counter. On play, look at the top 3 cards from our deck and reveal 1 Navy type other than Brand New. Add it to our hand, trash the remaining cards. So only looking at 3 does kind of suck, but it is just added consistency for the deck. Also cost 2 as opposed to most other Searchers, which are only cost 2Ks. But it is easier to attack with a 3K than a 2K. And we are a deck that wants to go second, so this is still what we'd want to be playing on turn 1 anyways. Next up is Sengoku. This is the starter deck Sengoku, 5 cost, 6000 power with 1k counter. And when attacking, give up to one of our opponent's characters -4 cost during their turn. So same one attacking effect as the 4-drop Guzan, but we don't get the draw, but we do have counter. So again, just another character that can attack and reduce cost of opponent's characters. So I'm a big fan of this card. I personally think it could be seeing more play in other black decks as well. I'm just a big fan of this card. Tashigi, last 2k counter of the deck. This is a 3 cost 4k, 2k counter. With the activate main, you may rest this character to give up to one of your opponent's characters -2 cost. So, like I said, Tashigi and Suru are probably the 2k counters that have the most applicability in play. Sometimes you can just pick Tashigi down early and leave her there. She is a 4k, so your opponent's going to invest some resources to get rid of her most of the time. Like red decks can easily hit 3k, but so they're going to have to invest either an Otamo or some sort of cost reduction to get Tashigi. And she can just be there as kind of a threat to reduce costs, so you can KO one of their larger threats in the late game. You can also just play her and use the effect immediately, and your opponent will often be enticed to remove her unless they have lethal, so she can kind of function as a blocker as well. So really like the Tashigi. And next up is the last character of the deck. This is the most fun card in the deck, in my opinion. When it works, it really works. When it doesn't, it really doesn't. 9 cost, 10,000 power. On play, you may trash 1 card from your hand and KO all characters with a cost of 1 or less. Do keep in mind, this is all characters with a cost of 1 or less. So this does include your characters, but we don't run any 1-cost red character or black characters aside from Suru. So just keep that in mind. If maybe you try this in a Lucci deck where you're running Spandom, this will KO your Spandoms. So this is where I want to talk about kind of my general game plan for the deck. I'm not running the 10 drop Kuzan because I think it's too slow. Because I have to get to 10 Dawn, and then I need to be able to play my Shanks. I think it's too slow, and we don't put enough pressure on our opponents. So the way I've built the deck is in the mid game, we want to play our Kuzans, our Sengokus, so that when we get to our Shanks turn, we can attack with our Kuzans and Sengokus, put some pressure on our opponent, force some cards out of their hand, or take some life, and then we can play Shanks to wipe their board. Another really cool thing you can do is if you are going second, you can play Isho on turn 4, and then on turn 5, you'll be at 10 Dawn, so you can put 1 on Isho, give the -3 to all our opponent's characters, and then play Shanks with the remaining 9 Dawn to get all of the 4 cost or lower characters essentially. And that's assuming we don't have any Kuzans or Sengokus on the field, or even our Helmeppos. Helmeppo lets us hit 6 if we've got Isho, and Kuzan or Sengoku let us hit up to 8 for with the Shanks. So I've really liked the way this deck plays. It's a little inconsistent because we can't search the Shanks, but it honestly, I've gotten the Shanks off way more than I thought I would. Maybe that's why I'm having so much fun with this deck. But it's not the most competitive deck, so if you're planning on going to any of the remaining regionals for this format, I would not recommend this deck. But if you're just going to have fun, maybe just try and mess with some people, maybe get a Shanks off, mad respect, and go for it. But I don't expect to go, top or anything like that. So last 2 cards of the deck are Shockwave. Probably familiar with this one as well. Most black decks are running it. This is our 2-cost event counter. We gain 4k power and then KO one of our opponent's active characters with a cost of 3 or less. And then it's also got the trigger to KO up to one of our opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Doesn't need to be active though, so any 4 cost or less. That's the deck profile. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And with that, let's dive into some games. Alright, we've got a game here against Doflamingo. We're going to choose to go second and mulligan that first hand. Bit of an awkward hand here, a lot of top end. But we are going second, so against Dofi, they do have a lot of 4-cost characters, as that's what they get to play off their leader effect. So we are able to do the Isho into Shanks on curve, which could be really, really strong in this matchup. So we're going to start turn 2 with no plays, but we do have the Shockwave open, so maybe if they play something here, we can just Shockwave out of that first hit and KO something. Just using the leader effect off the top, and they do get to hit a Kuma. So I'm not going to use the Shockwave there, we'll just take that hit. Did not draw anything we can really play yet, which sucks a little bit. So let's just go at the Kuma. Don't want to attack their life yet. I want to try and deplete their hand size first. And then we'll just play the Helmeppo since that's what we've got. Helmeppo's not really good here, but if they play anything small enough for us to reduce to 0, he can be a 5k attack. So next turn we can play the Sengoku. Put a Dawn on leader. Not too bad. Opponent still has not gotten to stack their deck, which does suck for them a little bit. Ideally they see a Perona turn 1, or maybe a blocker Dofi on turn 2, but not yet been able to stack their deck, so gonna be missing out on a little bit of their tempo there. I was a really big fan of Dofi set 2. Wasn't posting any content during set 2, but Doflamingo was my main deck during most of the set 2 format. We do hit a Kobe, so if we wanted, we could KO one of their characters here. Could reduce with the Helmeppo and play the Kobe. But I think we're just going to play the Sengoku and pass. So I do have the Jinbei, so they will get to bottom arm our Helmeppo if we do KO him. They do still have a pretty big hand size right now, so if we get to play the Isho, we'll probably get to drop a couple cards from their hand, which would be nice. Gonna swing 7 with the Jinbei. Still have not yet seen their Corona or Dofi blocker. They are just going to hit from the top, and they do hit again, so not doing too bad. We're going to trigger a Helmeppo. We are getting low on life, but I feel pretty comfortable right now. So we can swing 5 at the Mihawk. Play the Isho first to get the cards. Okay, it's down to 5. Now we can attack the Mihawk. See if they want to protect it. Are going to protect it. We can go 6. Just reduce the Mihawk's cost. Maybe should have reduced something else. I could have put some pressure, because if they choose to let it go, I won't have anything to reduce with the Helmeppos, but if I maybe reduce like the Kuma there, I can start putting some pressure on their life with the Helmeppos, which wouldn't be too bad. So a bit of a mistake for me. Probably won't make much difference. I guess now if they play anything big, I'll have the Helmeppos to reduce their cost even further so that I can KO it when I play the Shanks next turn. So I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to be swinging 8. Not using their leader effect, looks like. I think we will protect him. We can just drop the Garp and Sengoku. That has a lot of my hand though, so I guess I'm just gonna let him go there. I don't need him to KO anything right now. And if I play a Shanks, I'm gonna have a 9 and a 10 cost on the board. So this is really good for us. They're just playing another 4 cost. So we're going to put some pressure on their life first. Probably not just going to let any of their characters go yet. So we can swing with the Helmeppos now. See what they decide to do. Might just take one of these. Might want some cards in hand. Only got 3 cards left, so they do take that one. Now we can play the Shanks. We'll get 3 Dawn on our leader. So then we can still swing the 8 and the 10. So we'll go in with 8 now. They'll probably have to take. Waiting for the Kuma trigger to resolve here. They do take that one, and they're going to probably take that one as well. And now I'm in a position where I feel like I can't lose the game anymore. If they play another blocker, I can probably just get rid of it with this Sakazuki. And if they do try and pressure me too much, I've got the Fukuro as a blocker. I could bottom deck it, but again, that's costing them resources. Won't have as much Dawn to commit to their attacks. And with the exception of the set 3 Usopp, blue does not presently have any rush characters, and the Usopp is not really seeing any play, so I don't expect to see any rushers. So I'm feeling comfortable right now. Started off looking a little rough maybe with the opener, but my opponent didn't have their deck stacker, and so they haven't been able to continuously use their leader effect every game. Dofi can feel really hard to beat if they just keep stacking their deck and are able to control their draws and hits every game. It's really strong, but fortunately they still were able to get hits off their leader effect um, just off the top. So um, my luck was not that good when I was playing the Doflamingo deck. I whiffed a lot off the top. I didn't see my searchers. So, I do see the love here. So we are not going to be able to win this turn. We can just swing and then play the Fukuro. So don't think there's any way we lose this one now. Just gotta wait till our next turn, and we've got enough big bodies that we should be safe. Shouldn't matter how many blockers our opponent has. Even if they've got, say, 2 3-cost Dofis, I've got enough attackers that they shouldn't be able to stop. And they're just gonna swing 7. So I think I can just swing with the Isho, they'll probably block. And then we can just swing with the Shanks, and that will be it. They did have a Pacifista, but too little too late. Get that big 20k swing with our Shanks for the game. They only had an 8k encounter. So, alright, let's get on to game number 2. Alright, we've got a game against the Black Yellow Big Mom deck. I haven't built a deck for yet, but it's on my bucket list to do before the end of the set 3 format. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm a fan of the black decks, and so I'm gonna have to try the black yellow at some point. We do open with Isho and Shanks again, so that's always exciting. If we get to pull the combo off. I'm not sure how good the combo is going to be in this particular matchup, because they are going to get to play a lot of those un-KOable characters like we do. And also most of their like the yellow is a very top-end focused deck. Got the big moms and katakuri's and whatnot, just really big bodies that are harder for us to remove. So we'll see how things go. I think all in all, the Black Yellow Big Mom's not too bad. I know it did make some okay performances in the Asian set 3 meta, but it hasn't really seen any play over here in our set 3 format. But I think it's a fun deck. I do like healing, so I think I've talked about this before. I think the 10-drop Big Mom is just a unfair card when it works. When it hits the field, it just changes the game in such a way that like you can't really play around. So when the deck does its thing, it feels impossible to win, and like there was never any way to win. It's like with cards like the Newgate, which was restricted, I feel like you could play around that card pretty easily, especially in the Whitebeard deck. You could just focus on their board. Most of their board was 6k characters, and it only buffed the leader, so I don't know. So I did play Kuzan, triggered the Parasparrow earlier. They do have a pretty wide board right now. We did go first, which sucks, so we aren't really able to do the Isho into the Shank so easily. Would have been really good if we were able to play the Isho here. So we'll just play another Kuzan. See if they'll block the 5. Can KO the Kuzan with my Kobe. And then if they don't block this one, I can try and attack it again, and we'll get arrested down on the Luffy, so it won't just be a free block either. So I think that is the play. Just discard one of those Borsalinos. I think we've got enough of them. Next turn we can play the Isho. Could even potentially just play the Shanks next turn, but I think we want to get more value out of it, so we'll probably wait until after we play the Isho. Depends on what my opponent does here. If they go down to 5 cards on hand, might not really be worth playing the Isho. They are at 5 right now, so they have to not play anything. Could also just try and attack their life first. They're gonna just attack the Kuzan. I think he's gonna end up being KO'd here. Can't drop all my hand. Could drop the Sengoku maybe. My hand does not really have any counter right now though. I do just put one of the Kuzans at the bottom. So we're at 9. I think we put one on leader. Hope they take it. And then play Isho. If they don't take it, we could also just kind of turtle up and play some of the blockers. Do have 4 life. Also, so they do let it go, so as long as they don't whiff. Alright, great. Now we can play the Isho. And we'll just leave the Kuzan up since they could just get a free block. So if they don't remove our Kuzan, we can wipe their board except for the Borsalino right now. Dawn on Isho and attack with Kuzan, reduce the Katakuri. Does bring him within range of the Shanks, so that's pretty good. See what they do here. Got 10 Dawn now, so they could play their 10 drop, which would even out the game, but they put 2 on their leader, so we'll just take that. Get Isuru, take the 8. Another Katakuri on the Isho. Did not see that one coming. So now things are a little awkward. Bring the Katakuri down to 2 with the Helmeppo and Kuzan. So we could play the Suru and the Shanks still to get the Kuzan or the Katakuri and both puddings. Doesn't seem great, but also could be worse. Establishing a 10k body is not too bad. We would still get an 8k swing. So, might be the play. I think we're gonna go for it. So, let's attack 5. Doesn't really matter which one. So they do take it. So, love to see that. Attack with the Helmeppo. Play the Suru. I suppose we should have played the Suru first. That way we could have gotten a 5k with the Helmeppo. So, bit of an oopsie there. And we'll just discard the Helmeppo. Plus 1 Katakuri down. Now I can swing 8. which I have to imagine they'll take as well. Could have two 2Ks, or block with a 2 and a 1. But if they take, I feel like they're a pretty rough spot, unless they've got some more Fukuros. They can just basically remove my board. I mean, not all of it, but they can get the Helmeppo. I attack with the Kuzan. He's gonna have to go, unfortunately. Let's see 10 drop. We do see 10 drop. It's not too bad there. I got 6 cards in hand. I feel like I kind of gotta go for game here. Because I do have the blockers though, so I can just play those and feel pretty safe. I'll just go. Okay. Well, they just end up conceding, but I think what I would have done there is just swing 6 with the Luffy after that, and then play the Borsalino and Fukuro, and I don't think I can lose next turn. And if they try and like clear my Shanks, it's probably not gonna go well for them. So let's get another game here, see if we can get a more meta deck. Alrighty, we've got a game now against Newgate. So this should be a pretty fun one, I think. Like I said, the Luffy leader effect, I think, comes up in this matchup more than most. I'm going to search out the Isho here. Isho, I think, is one of the key cards in the Whitebeard matchup. As most of you know, I really enjoyed the Lucci deck, and when we play the Whitebeard matchup with Lucci, Isho is still one of the key components of success. Getting to get 2 cards from their hand, almost guaranteed, as well as establish a large body. It also brings a lot of their characters within range of our KO effects. So, could have played Kuzan here, but I'm just going to swing 6 and play the Fukuro. Feel like I need to play the blockers at some point, and since he can't be removed, may as well do it now and still get the attack off. We want our Kuzan to stick around as well, so generally I like to play the Kuzan a little closer to the our opponent's 9-10 Dawn turn. The 9 cost is restricted, of course, right now, but in the event that they do have it, it does let us, if we play the Kuzan the turn before, it does allow us to KO it with Sakazuki if we've got it. Did drop tech the Sakazuki, but I think we're just going to KO the Luffy here. KOing the Luffy here just gives us a Dawn so we can still attack the leader. Don't know what I want to discard though. My hand's pretty good. Feel like I kind of just have to discard the Kuzan because we definitely want the Isho next turn. Kuzan's good, but okay, if we were gonna play him, we would have done it last turn. We'll just get the Dawn, go 6. So just counter out of that one. And this actually works out pretty well for us because if we play Isho next turn, we're not going to be able to attack life with their leader. But next turn, after they pass, they're going to be at 1 life. So they probably just take the hit anyways because they're going to go to 0 after they pass next turn unless they have their one of Newgate. So I think this has worked out pretty well for us. So we'll just leave the Sakazuki active, I think. We could attack with it, but I don't think there's any point If they have an ace, they're just gonna clear it. Ooh, there's our shanks. So we are at 2 life, but if we can play Isho next turn, and then Shanks the following turn, we'll get some Dawn on our leader, get 2 attacks off, well 3 attacks off because we'll have the Isho then. I feel like we just play the Isho and pass. It will be at 9 next turn, so if they have the Newgate, that'll stink a little bit. Do hit an ace. So, good attack at the ace, rather than attack the 7. Why not? If they counter, we can assume they've got the Newgate, but they don't. So, probably just should have left him active, but my friend plays a lot of Newgate, and I swear he's always got it. So we gotta play around that when we can. So they don't have the Newgate, but they do have another ace. So we're gonna have to say adios to the Sakazuki, unfortunately. And they're gonna have 2 Dawn open. So they swing 6 at Sakazuki. I think I let him go. I could counter and then block with the ace. It feels bad though. So we'll just take the next hit. We've got blocker. And we're gonna wipe most of their board. Ooh, and another 2-cost blocker. So just put 1 on Isho, and now we're gonna wipe everything but the ace. That was good. See, the deck does its thing sometimes. So I mean, I think they're tapped out. They were really relying on the blockers there. So I think we can just probably swing 10-10 and that will be it. Now that we've cleared all those blockers. Or I guess it's not 10-10, we've got 9 and a 10. So they can give us 2 2Ks here. And then they need 2 more 2Ks and something else to get out of the Isho. And Whitebeard does play a lot of events, so I doubt they've got that. Like if they're handing out all those 2Ks, so be it. But we've got a lot of counter, and they say GG's, so they only had the 10. So that was a good one. Let's see if maybe they'll give us a rematch. I think the Newgate matchup is a good one to showcase. Oh, and we've been recognized. I am the YouTube man. That's cool. I've never been recognized on the sim before. So, thank you, man. Means a lot. Might cut some of this part out. See if we can get another game or a rematch. So they do say they're going to give us some rematch. And yeah. Let's see. All right. So we do get to choose again. So let's see. So we do get to choose the turn order here, and against Newgate, if we can, we want to go second. I mean, against any deck, if we can, we want to go second. So got the Kuzan. Might end up just playing it on turn 2 this time. Does mean we don't get to attack with our leader, but it's not the end of the world. Got a Kobe as well. No turn 1 play for us. Just gonna save the 2K, or no point really in playing him here. Gonna swing 8. We'll take that. Got Sakazuki, so that will be good for turn 3. We do have a Fukuro again. I think I'm just gonna play the Kuzan this time. So on their 5-Don turn, thankfully, since we are going second again, they can't like Ochama, Marco, or Kuzan. Always feels bad when that happens. I'm gonna swing 7. I think I'm just gonna take this one. I'm swinging a lot of 7s, which is a little annoying, but hey, that's what Newgate does. So I'm gonna play the Speed Jill. And we're just gonna play the Sakazuki, trash the Helmeppo, get the Jill. Now we got 6K swing with lead, and we'll just leave the Kuzan active, kind of a looming threat for that cost reduction. Maybe we can hit something good with this Kobe. So they will take that one. We don't have the Isho this game. The opponent does have a huge hand. You can't even tell how many cards that is. Oh, and there it is. There is the Ochama Marco that we were fearing before. But we do just get to counter out of that one for 2K. Guess they don't want to leave themselves too exposed to getting KO'd this turn. Just swing 6. We're gonna guard point. I'm just gonna leave the Sakazuki active here because we do know they've got the ace, and there is Newgate. Maybe I should have attacked with the Sakazuki. Didn't really feel like the need in attacking, like I said, against the first game. Unless they have the Newgate, they're just gonna lose that life. So that's what I was kind of expecting to happen there. But I guess not. So I'm gonna play a Fukuro for sure, I think. And we're just gonna start attacking the Marco. I'm gonna play the Fukuro first, that way if they choose to let the Marco get KO'd, I can get arrested down with my leader effect, because that's cool. That'll leave us with 7 Dawn. So probably just gonna end up playing another Borsellino, so I do count out. So we're just probably gonna swing 7 at Marco again, and then 2K or Borsellino. Like, I'm not really afraid of dying next turn, so I'm just gonna attack with him. Like I said in the deck profile, maybe I'm crazy, but I like attacking with the Borsellinos every now and then. I'm gonna choose to let it go this time so we get the Dawn there. And then they're gonna bring it back, so we can just attack it again for 7. See if we can get a 2K. I'm sure they've got some more 2Ks in there. Surely they don't just let him go. Got 6 cards left, so feeling pretty good. We got an army of blockers. A lot of 2Ks. If they play like the Fossa, we know they're playing, just KO it with the Kobe. And then like put everything on the Sakazuki for a big swing, depending on how much Dawn they leave up for event counters. Could also just go like 6 with the Borstos and the Luffy. And then everything else on the Sakazuki. like? That would be like 10, 6, 6, 6. It's not too bad. And you grab the ace. Could try and clear our board here, maybe. It's not looking to be the case. I think I'm just gonna take this one. I probably won't go to 1 just because I swear every time I go to 0, my opponent has the Rush Luffy, which is a little annoying. So I've just stopped going to 0. This seems to be a very Whitebeard focused build, but even still, it's happened. Lost a game at the Gen Con regionals because I didn't think they'd have Luffy, and they did. So they're gonna swing at the Sakazuki, which we're just gonna 2K. So we'll block with the Fukuro. I do have a Fosa, and I do leave some Dawn. I think we'll play the Kobe, KO the Fosa, trash, I guess the brand new. Just keep those 2Ks. Feel like if they have enough counter, we can still live if we leave the blockers up. Might even be able to attack with one of them if I'm feeling a little crazy. So just trash the Fosa, or the brand new, KO the Fosa, we get it down. Then we can go 10 with the Sakazuki and 10 with the Luffy. Leave up all the blockers. So if they've got like guard points and whatnot, I could put an end to our attacks. But we're gonna see guard point there. 2 Dawn left. I think we did see that they're running the Red Hawk, so we might see that maybe. But I feel like we're safe. So there is the Red Hawk. And we do get another Dawn there, so like I mentioned in the deck profile, weird interaction there that I didn't think would ever come up, but there it is. I told you. So they do get to live here, but like I said, I've got 3 blockers. I don't really think it matters what happens now. Got the ace. Do think they searched that out. Gonna go 6. I can counter that one. They're gonna go 11. They don't have any Dawn for the Rush Luffy. Don't have anything to put the Jambe on. I don't think Whitebeard's ever run Jambe, but I'm paranoid. I feel like I can take this one if I want, but I'm just gonna block. We'll take one of them. Sure. Trigger the Meppo. And then we just block. Wouldn't it be funny if I forgot to block there? Hashtag sim things. So opponent says he's misplaying, but I don't know. Don't beat yourself up, mate. I think you've been doing pretty well. I did kind of, as you said, I had a lot of blockers there. So, you know, you do what you can. If you watched my Yamato video, I misplayed a lot. And it's okay. We're not perfect. Like I said, we're not perfect. Yeah. So shout out to Zone. I don't know if I'm saying that right. So if you watch this video, feel free to let me know in the comments how badly I said that. But it was a really good game. really cool to get to play against one of my viewers. I didn't think I'd ever get to say that. So thank you for watching the videos and hopefully liking the videos and being subscribed to the channel. So, oh yeah, we got another Lucci boy out here. Maybe that's how you found me. Being an advocate of the Lucci deck. Sadly, he is going to fall off next set, I think. So, probably going to pick up Rebecca. We'll see. I don't really like playing tier 1 decks. So I kind of like to ride the tier 2 line. Like, I don't consider Lucci tier 1. I think he's a good deck, but he's not the best deck. So we're going to give him one more game here. We are going to let him go second this time. See how that affects our game plan. So we're going to swing 6 and play the Branu here. Branu is going to grab us a Borsellino. And we're going to pass. So going first does let us play our even curve cards a turn late, but still get a 6k chip in. So that's a plus, I guess, kind of, right? I don't know. Black decks like to go second. I feel like of all the card games I've ever played, this is the one that you want to go second in more often than you don't. I feel like in most card games, it's just like, it's just strictly better to be going first. But I don't know. Definitely depends on the deck. Like, red decks like going first most of the time. They got a good first curve and they're just very aggressive. So if you played card games, red does red deck things in One Piece as well. Got our opponent on their 6th Dawn turn now. Maybe we see something like a Thatch come down. Would be annoying. Gonna see 2 Dawn on Jill. We shall take. And 2 Dawn Whitebeard, which we will take. And Defosa. My hand is feeling a little rough right now. So I think, like, we'll swing 6 at the Jill. Could Kobe the Jill? He's gonna Kobe the Fosa. Attack the Jill. Feel like maybe that was a little dumb. Probably should have just put 1 on the Kuzan, attack the Jill, reduce the Jill. But I don't know. I like leaving the Kuzan up for when they play bigger things. Though I guess I did just use my only source of KOing that I had currently. So I'm not really thinking ahead here right now. But we'll see how it goes. 8 Dawn now. See, we were playing around the ace. That was the game plan. Didn't say it. That's what I was thinking. Block and 2k. They want to put a bunch of Dawn on their Newgate to kill our Borsellino. That's fine with me. So I'm just going to swing another 7. I will counter. Ah, and there's the Rush Luffy. See? They are running it. they running it in, maybe we saw it in game one. I think I forgot about it. Yeah, they were definitely running it. Like game one, I KO'd it with Sakazuki on curve though. That's what happened. So we did have to let our Borsalino go there. I didn't expect a rusher there, so it does feel a little bad that we jumped a lot of our hand now, but oh well. It is what it is. Now I can't really KO anything. Attack the Joe. Moved a little too fast there. Should have attacked the Luffy. Not that I think they're going to let either of them go here. So the question is, do I put one on Kuzan and attack the Luffy, put two on Kobe, and play the Borsalino? I think I need another blocker. So we're going to put the two on Kobe and leave the Kuzan up. This game's not feeling great though. We do still have 3 life, but we've only got 4 cards in hand, and they've got 2 6k bodies to complement their 6k leader. It's very much what the Whitebeard deck wants to do. Don't want to give us anything less than 6k to be attacking. So forces us to commit extra Dawn to our attacks. Do you just get to 2k? Probably just 2k again if they give me another 6. If they give me a 7, I might block and 2k. Ooh, not anymore. Now we are 8, 3k blocker. We are going to swing 6. Now that we know there's an ace, I'm definitely just going to protect myself. And now we've got another 7, which I think I have to take. Ooh. Now, see, this is not a good time for Mr. Shanks to show up. Feel like I can't even afford to play the E-show here, which sucks. Playing E-show here would be great if we could live another turn. We do have Kuzan, so I guess we could like play Shanks and get the Luffy. Can't get the blocker, that's really annoying. Definitely think we have to play Shanks here because we gotta get rid of some of their board. So maybe we attack the speed gel and see if they let it go. Reduce it with the Luffy, or reduce the Luffy with the Kuzan. And then we're gonna get to KO the Luffy so we can still attack the Jill again. It would be so much better if we could get rid of the blocker too. Can you imagine if we had Nisho on board? It'd be so good. So Nisho's gonna have to go. But now with the blocker, I think I can live another turn. So we're just gonna go for life here. Force a 2k. Because I don't think they'll block. They're gonna have to save the blocker for next turn. So I think we're okay. Unless they've got like another ace, or well, even if they do, they have to hit me once. So I can let one go through. Nah, another one's probably it. No, they hit me once. A block. Yeah, no, with what I got in counter, I think I need them to not have another rusher. If it's ace, maybe. But I'd have to take the first hit and hope it's a counter. And if it's not, I still lose. Swinging 6. I feel like I kind of have to counter now. Because I can't block that. I think they maybe should have swung the 7 first. I do have another ace. So let's see if it would have mattered, because we'll take this one and we can block the next one. Okay, we did have a 2K. So I think that means it didn't matter what our opponent did there. So swinging 6 was probably okay. We only got one down up. So let's swing 10. They block. Do I just go 15 or do I split it up? 6 cards in hand. I think I need to split it up to force the most counter out of hand. Let's go 8 with Kuzan and see if we can get a guard point or the one of Radbean if they've got it. Because then with 5 cards, I could swing 12. So they'd need to have 3Ks and something else, at least 7K. This forces 10K in counter. If I go 15, that only forces, does that force 9 or still 10? I think that only forces 9, right? Because they need, no, I think that still forces 10. I don't think it matters what I do. They just need to not have a bunch of counter. But there's the guard point. So no other events. I think maybe if my opponent swung, if they swing this 7, does it matter? Because I have to take this 7 and then a 4K in counter. They have 3 Dawn left, so they have to swing at least one 8 and a 9. So I think I can block the 9 and still counter out of the 8. So that was a really fun game. Again, shout outs to Vozone. Probably said that wrong, but shout outs. I'm gonna ask real quick if they're cool if I include these in the video. But really fun game to you, my friend. I hope we encounter each other again sometime. It was a pleasure. So that's Mono Black Luffy. I think it's a really fun deck. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's video, please do consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel if you're not already. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Peace.